Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus, but the Pharisees and scribes began to complain, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So to them, Jesus addressed this parable. A man had 2 sons, and the younger son said to his father, "Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me." So the father divided the property between them. After a few days, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country, where he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck that country, and he found himself in dire need. So he hired himself out to one of the local citizens, who sent him to his farm to tend to the swine. And he longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed, but nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, "How many of my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat? But here am I, dying from hunger. I shall get up, go to my father, and I shall say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers.' So he got up and went back to his father. While he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But his father ordered his servants, 'Quickly, bring the finest robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Take the fattened calf and slaughter it. Then let us celebrate with a feast. Because the son of mine was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.' Now the celebration began. Now the older son had been out in the field, and on his way back, as he neared the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what this might mean. The servant said to him, 'Your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, because he has come back home safe and sound.' He became angry, and when he refused to enter the house, his father came out and pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, 'Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, you swallowed up your property with prostitutes. For him you slaughtered the fattened calf.' He said to him, 'My son, you are here with me always. Everything I have is yours. But now you must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Fred Snodgrass, he was a dead ball era baseball player for the New York Giants. That's what the early team was called. And the 1912 World Series went 8 games because Game 2 was called a tie due to weather situations. They didn't have lights back then. In the bottom of the 10th inning of Game 8, Giants leading 2-1 against the Boston Red Sox, Fenway Park. There was a high fly ball headed Fred Snodgrass's way, right center. One of those balls is so high that the hitters basically at second base. By the time that ball should have stuck in Snodgrass's glove for the first out of the inning, but instead popped right out, and the runner was on second, and it would lead to the Giants blowing Game 8 of the series. And after a 9-year career, and later on, he became a successful businessman in his home state of California. When he died in 1974, his New York Times obituary read this: Fred Snodgrass, 86, dead, ball player, muffed, 1912 fly. He, like a lot of athletes, you can never go back and change an era. But when he was interviewed later on in his life, and we can even hear his interviews, he actually sounded happy. But when people would question him, without saying it directly, they did imply this. And it happens to people who make a huge error publicly. Ultimately, the interviewer was asking him, how did you live with yourself after that? And I hate to say it, but why didn't you commit suicide after that? After all the hard time, depression you got? He said, I was a happy man to the end. My teammates understood. They forgave me. I learned to forgive myself with that and make mistakes. And I learned to forgive others. They didn't understand when they'd give me a hard time. He said his key to a happy life after his public error was forgiveness. It gave him a long life. Forgiveness. After the Last Supper, immediately, Jesus, his soul was sorrowful to death. It's from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus forgave sins from the very beginning of his public ministry. And he taught us how to forgive sins and how often to do it. 77 times he said. But when he hit the garden, what he had to face was, could he forgive? Personally forgive. Forgive betrayal. And could he do that in a short amount of time? That's what he had to face in the garden. Jesus anticipated it, and we can anticipate it too. We will be betrayed. If you have any expectations of anybody and anything, there will be a feeling of betrayal at some point in time. There are signs that betrayal is about to sneak up into your life, if that's the way it works. Change behavior, maybe from people you care about. Secretive behavior. Maybe somebody has strange new acquaintances that your gut tells you there's something wrong about these relationships, these friendships. And then there's the totally inexplicable and shocking moments of betrayal that we had no idea of. We will be betrayed. And with this, we culturally are deferential. Everybody has the right to choose. We as practicing Catholics, I say we're pretty tight in the pro-life issue. As far as everybody has the right to be born. But there is a pervasive perspective. Everybody has the right to choose whatever lifestyle they want. And why do we de facto take that? Because it's like, at the very least, we don't want to alienate our family and friends. So do whatever the heck that you want to do. The right to choose has crept in. But remember this about the right to choose. As it can break a relationship with God, something like abortion, unless there is a reconciliation, remember this. The right to choose also implies the right to betray. The right to betray you, me, God. If you ever have the right to choose, that's one of your rights too. You can betray us. And betrayal is one of those feelings that's like it can break us. In our closest, most intimate, deepest relationships. And then also with this. And be mindful of this. Our personal expectations that we have arrogantly imposed on our unknowing family members and friends. Not God's expectations, but ours. the points why we need to have a religion. There is only one Savior. Do you realize how that keeps us safe? Just having that conviction that there's only one Savior, Jesus? Because if we're not locked into that, we'll look for other saviors. If it's your boyfriend, if it's your girlfriend, if it's an athlete, for crying out loud, a politician, only one Savior. So be careful about the personal expectations we put on others. And remember this, as far as if you ever feel betrayed by another person, there's a theme in life. Early on in life, you fall. It's cute. Little toddlers falling, and they kind of bounce you. You can get right back up. Later on in life, as an older person, you're going to fall. It ain't so cute anymore. But it's going to happen, and it takes a long time to recover. And we in that middle age period, it's not just middle-aged people, but that big rock, all of us who can stand on our own 2 feet. Remember, we're all a falling people. We were as kids, we'll be as old people, and we are in our middle years. It's just that our fall looks different. We're falling people, we're fallen people. So when we put expectations on one another, don't forget that. We do all fall. Hidden in the deep mysteries that we Catholics are anticipating in Lent leading up to Holy Week, the mysteries of transformation. This is what marks us as Catholics. Bread and wine becoming flesh, blood, death becoming a resurrected life. We look for the transformation in the mysteries of our faith. Tucked into that story, don't forget it, is also the story. How do you transform betrayal into something that's a little bit more hopeful? Or is betrayal the final word? Betrayal can be transformed, but to do it, it's like sweat and blood to make it happen. If it creeps up into your life, it's hard work. Some of us start with this prayer: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Some of us live by that prayer. Have you heard it before? The serenity prayer. It's a stabilizer, but it's not the cure. You see that in the parable of the prodigal son? He didn't ask for serenity for his family. That was not the key. Transformation of betrayal. How do you do it? When the bitterness of betrayal has nearly consumed us, when even the suffering seems to have bottomed out, you know that we have a survival instinct, don't you? Deep down, you just want to survive. From somewhere deep in us, suffering and betrayal, the survival instinct that will save you and others are these words: I forgive you. If those are the words that can emerge from your barrel being just about barren, nothing left with all that suffering, if those are the last words, then you pulled out of betrayal and you survived. It's in the parable of the prodigal son. The father said this to both sons: what was dead has come back to life again. And we see it when Jesus moved forward with his captives. After praying so hard that his sweat became like drops of blood, his last words to the people from the cross, from the bottom of the pit of his personal suffering, was, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And we sometimes try to relegate it to just the Bible. Jesus turned water into wine. Jesus rose from the dead. You and I can turn water into wine and rise from the dead by turning betrayal around to that kind of forgiveness. It It's the new life. What was dead can come to life. And so, the discipline of Lent, prayer, giving, sacrifice, it also includes the discipline of forgiveness. Don't take that lightly. That discipline might be your lifesaver later on down the road. Because knowing how to forgive, asking for forgiveness, and separating false from fair expectation of self and others, it will never spare you the feeling of betrayal, but equip you and others to survive and move on with hope after a betrayal.